My!
It's Dynamite.
Wednesday night Dynamite!
So Dynamite.
This is awesome! This is this. Hey, everybody! Have a great time!
It's Dynamite.
I'm not one of these f***ing goof podcasters out there. I am Don Tony. Wednesday night Dynamite! It's a Donio! It's a Donio! Oh, I forgot. Can you hear me? It's a Donio. I am a Goofio. What's going on, everybody? Hey, we're about 10 days away from Halloween. I want to welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the Wednesday night, the Dynamite. Here's a true fact. I never liked Mario growing up. I played a little bit of Mario on Nintendo, but I never really liked it. When Albano became part of the cartoon, I never watched it. I thought it was stupido. Look at me. Look at this. Do I look like a goof or not? It's a me. It's a Mario. Woohoo! God. I want to take the mustache off because I got a mustache on. Does Mario wear glasses? I kind of probably look better like this, right? It's a Mario. That's the pose for the synopsis for later tonight. Hey, Halloween is... Do I look like a goof or what? Hey, Halloween's are coming up. Next week, Halloween Havoc. Talk about a goofy night tonight, man. I mean, this, I think, says it all. Boy, I got to tell you. You know, I should add sound effects. When I rub my face, it could be like... But, man, when the spice to meet the ball. See, I don't know the quotes. I mean, I was on YouTube for a minute or two earlier, you know, just looking at some of the quotes and, you know, come on, man. But you know what? Halloween is coming up, and obviously Halloween this year is going to suck a hell of a lot more than previous years. So, you know, yeah, you know what? Everybody, if you like how goofy I look right now, hit the like button. Seriously, I did it for all of you. You know, I asked people for some ideas as far as what I should wear for Halloween. I got things from dressing up like Trump, dressing up like Obama, dressing up like Testicular Man. Just go on Amazon and just look up Testicular Man. You'll see what I'm talking about. And a few of you said, hey, go as a Mario. So I'm here. We got an interesting show to get into. I could tell you right now, based on the fact that my nostrils are starting to itch, this will be peeled off momentarily. The outfit is kind of hot, but I don't know if you could see it with the light. The funniest thing about this outfit, I'm going to show you something. It's got Velcro closings in the back. I have nobody here tonight to close the Velcro. So my whole back is open, but I didn't look at the size when I ordered it. So it was a size large, which is meant for people that are a little bit smaller than me. I got to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever said this since I was a child. Look at this. Got a pretty nice ass going. It's like shoved up my ass. Not fun. Not fun. Hey, I did it just for a good laugh. Halloween is coming up. I don't know what I'm going to dress at next week. Maybe I'll do the Deli Man, but I will tell you I will be sweating my balls off. So, anyway, without further ado, I know the people with audio only right now are like, come on, get into the news, stupido. Stop with the Mario stuff. Look at it. I don't know what to say tonight about NXT and AEW. I will tell you this. AEW show was very, very predictable. Last week when we talked about the Eliminator tournament to determine the number one contender for the AEW Heavyweight Championship, I think we all agreed. We said it last week. It's going to come down to Rey Fenix, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and Wardlow. I mean, that was pretty obvious. Now, on one side, you have, after everything was said and done, Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix. Hope Rey Fenix is okay. Scary moment during his match tonight. On the opposite side, it's Hangman Page versus Wardlow. Can you see where this is going at full gear? Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega, that's the money match. FTR versus the Young Bucks, that's the money match. I got news for you. People out there complaining that Moxley is facing Eddie Kingston. I had a few people tweet, DM, email, like, that's not a main event for a pay-per-view. Wait, just watch what goes down. You know, just because Eddie Kingston, you know, doesn't have the quintessential, like, Roman Reigns look, or because you didn't have him on your radar because all you do is tweet about pretty much WWE because that gets you the most attention. You know, we've been singing the love and the praise for Eddie Kingston for years and years and years. And when he was doing what he was doing in NWA, it was great. And people that followed NWA took notice. Now you're getting to see on the grand stage. And hell, you know, I mean, where were all of you when he was doing stuff in Impact? Where were all of you when he was doing stuff on the Feds? I mean, I say this all the time. But, you know, it's moments like this where you really see people exposed. They truly don't watch wrestling. How many people have you caught over the last couple of years that claim they watch this, claim they watch that, claim they watch that? And then when you start bringing up specifics, they don't have a clue of what you're talking about. Eddie Kingston is well known. Sure, I don't think anybody ever thought he would be main eventing an AEW pay-per-view this soon. But how could you complain? Plus, it's an I Quit match, which means I'm not going to say it's going to be on the level of Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, which caused a lot of controversy not too long ago, but this is going to be a violent bloodbath. For anybody that goes back to the CZW days with Moxley, I don't know if it's going to get that hardcore, but this is going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy ass match. So I'm looking forward to it. Plus, here in my neck of the woods in New York, everybody is absolutely loving that, you know, Eddie Kingston's getting this opportunity. Do I think he's winning the title? No, I don't think that at all. But as some of you have suggested, I hope before he retires, I hope Cody defends the TNT title against Homicide at least once. That's the match I want to see in AEW. I don't know if that will ever happen. I think a lot of people would actually really enjoy that tremendously. I think that would be a cool way to see him on national TV one more time. And by the way, Daniel-san says I look nuts. Hey, Daniel-san, hey, how you doing? All right, here's my Luigi quotes. Yahoo! I'm not going to do JD from New York and fall off my chair. Everybody sent it to me expecting to be like, aha, woohoo, look at you. No, I hope he was okay. Seriously, man, you can get seriously hurt falling off a chair like that. You hit your head the wrong way. Yeah, so I'm glad he's okay. And you know what? I'm glad that he could laugh about it as well. So, my man. Oh, no, my man. I got to act like I have no nuts. So, but anyway, let's talk about both shows tonight. I will tell everybody out there that tonight's show is going to be shorter than usual. Trust me when I tell you, I have to make a concerted effort to really tighten these up, especially since we do shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And then this Sunday we have the pay-per-view Hell in a Cell. Some of you want a pay-per-view recap for Impact Wrestling. Mish and I may actually do one. It's a little undecided yet because I don't know if I'm going to be home during the pay-per-view. But for those that are interested, Ken Shamrock will be inducted in the TNA Hall of Fame during the day on Saturday. So if you're going to get the pay-per-view, I'm sure there's like pre-shows and stuff, Shamrock is going to be put in. And yeah, I mean, we all admit Impact Wrestling is nowhere what it used to be. It's not even maybe a tenth of what it used to be. But it's still an organization that's banging out quality entertainment. That roster is working their ass off. And, you know, as I think we all knew, you know, they just inked Deonna Purrazzo to a long-term deal. You know, I know it's a little bit wrong to say she's Tessa Blanchard light, but as soon as they didn't work out the deal with Tessa Blanchard, it feels, just as a fan looking at the show and the content, it feels like they wanted a female to be a tough female, talented female, beautiful female, intimidating female, to be the cornerstone of that company. You see a lot more intergender matches in Impact Wrestling than a lot of other companies out there. Bigger companies, you don't really see it ever. Very, very rare. And then when you do, it's usually a female just taking a shot at a male, and the male can't retaliate. WWE does that all the time. AEW, you see it a little bit, like Nyla Rose could beat up men, but you know, you don't see the reciprocating. We got a little tease, Dean Ambrose's final days of his WWE career, when we thought he was going to do something with Nia Jax that ended up coming out to nothing. But yeah, Bound for Glory is their WrestleMania. Hey, you know, everybody on that card is going to be working their ass off. Just unfortunately, you know, I don't know how Impact Wrestling really blows it up to the next level. I mean, let's be honest, they have a decent roster, you know, but for the most part, it just feels like they're treading water. You know, it's the money coming in, especially during COVID and everybody having financial crisis in different ways. You know, that's asking a lot to expect fans to pay for WWE programming, AEW programming. And then you have, you know, all the MMA stuff, Fight TV with all of their pay-per-views. Hell, I don't even know if you were all aware of this. I don't know where the Xia Li storyline is going on TV. I must have this match. I must win. I must win. You know, something very interesting that you may not even be aware of. But check this out. This weekend in Orlando, Florida, they are allowing 200 tickets. So there's going to be fans in attendance. But that is kickboxing. And that is Xia Li. She is being featured on the banner. I guess this might be the main event for Combat Night this Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And I know a lot of you out there that are aware of this already are saying, like, wow, WWE is allowing her to do this. I don't know what her future in WWE is, because when do you ever hear WWE allowing a contracted wrestler go outside the compounds? Because look, she could get injured. Then what happens? So even though they're doing this storyline on TV, and then we see her main eventing this, you know, it has to creep in your mind is, you know, what's the future of Xia Li in WWE? And, you know, I'm a poet in case you didn't know it. So I wish her luck. I hope she wins. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens. But tonight on NXT, she lost to Casey Catanzaro. You know, they didn't do any storyline after where, you know, the Japanese Yakuza, you know, did something to her, or, you know, the Orient. But, you know, then we had, it was quickly moved on to the match next week of Raquel Gonzalez versus Ria Ripley. So it's okay, let's get the attention off of them really quick. They're pretty much left for dead in the ring. But next week it's Ria versus Raquel Gonzalez. So, oh, she's Chinese. That's why I said the Orient just now, Benjamin. Because I'm not going to lie. You know, I'm not like one of these morons, hey, I can't tell if somebody is Japanese or Chinese by the look of their eye. No, it's just I because of the Orient and because of that area of the country, you know, I don't study everybody's hometowns or home country. So sometimes Japan, China, you know, I get them a little mixed up. So that's why I say the Orient. So I kind of like bailed myself out just in case I was wrong before, which I was. Yes, Prince Albert. She's Chinese. Anybody else? And I don't speak Japan and I don't speak Chinese. So, but yes, I was some dumb fuck just now. Yes, I cursed for the first time. Woohoo! Oh, yeah! So anyway, what should I go as next week? Should I do the Deli Man? Should I do like 70s, like Mafia Guido? Because I got tons of 70s clothes and 80s clothes. Have my chest hair hanging out, you know, paste the hair back, wear the 70s glasses. You know, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll let you all in the chat. But, oh, by the way, we have to announce the winner of the 5 T-shirt package. Remember, the winner gets their choice of any 5 wrestling-related shirts. It could be all AEW, could be NXT, could be WWE, MLW, New Japan. Hell, you could choose 5 podcasters that I hate. Whatever you want. I pulled it earlier tonight, and we will announce that winner. I will show it to you in real time in a few moments. But let's talk about both shows tonight. Then, you know, we have to get into something with Jake Hager, because I thought, you know, like there's TKO in boxing, but I think Jake Hager performed a VKO on VKM, and I call VKO as a verbal knockout. You know, the only thing that I'm a little concerned about with a lot of wrestlers out there is they're actually buying into the Kool-Aid that Andrew Yang is going to do something for them. And I like Andrew Yang. I've said it before. But he's a politician first and foremost. And he's been in the legal field for a very, very, very long time. How come he has never initiated anything? You know, how come he never brought this up any time other than an election year? You know what I mean? Like really pushed the envelope as far as what's going on right now. He just did an interview with Jericho, and he's talking about if Biden is president, if this is this, then, and he's no longer saying that he'll be the Secretary of Labor or whatever it is. You know, now it's, I could be in their ear and this and that. Well, you know what? Why aren't you initiating or getting people to have a class action lawsuit right freaking now? And again, I don't understand. You know, smiley face, you know, Valet, he interviews him. Jericho interviews him. A lot of people into it. And I understand they got to be professional. They don't want to stir it up. But how come nobody asks Andrew Yang, how come WWE has always been successful in court? And could this be the same scenario if it gets into court again? You know, they're not above the courts. And I brought this up before. I'm not going to get into politics right now, but if the courts were below our, you know, government in the White House, the wall would have been built 4 years ago. A lot of things would have taken place already about DACA and other things out there. The courts are the ones who decide this. And there is no, like, they can't just like, yeah, fired, and they get rid of all the judges and put the judges in there that want to do this to Vince McMahon. And when Andrew Yang tells Jericho the other day, we need a couple of former stars to speak up and tell everybody what it's about. Jesus Christ, have you taken any attention to the CTE lawsuit and all these others of all these wrestlers that have tried to sue WWE over the years? And all the time, WWE wins. So with all due respect, Andrew Yang is playing politics on all of you. Andrew Yang is playing politics on the wrestlers. And I feel bad. Do I think a union is the way to go? No, because the pay for a lot of wrestlers will dramatically go down. You know, everybody pays in the end. You know, and Mish and I talked about that on Patreon the other day. If anybody's following the politics, you know, Biden says nobody under $400,000 is going to be taxed. Okay. When you tax small businesses and they're getting hit with 50% taxes, you watch how that hamburger goes from $10 to $15. You watch how coffee goes from $1 to $2. You watch how a head of lettuce goes from 79 cents to $1.39. And you could go across the board. You want to tax car companies, billions of dollars? No problem. When you want to go buy that car and next year it costs you $3,000 more, in the end, everybody pays. And, you know, you got to always remember something. This is not taking a shot on any wrestler whatsoever. Boy, I look goofy with this. But I think you all understand this. that just because you are uber talented in the ring, just because you cut a great promo, doesn't mean that you're street smart outside. And usually people that say they're street smart are not street smart. And the thing is that Andrew Yang has a lot of these wrestlers, you know, on his strings, basically hoping that, oh, maybe something can change. And in the end, you watch 4 years from now, and if Trump gets reelected, this is not a, you know, endorsing Trump, but if Trump gets reelected and Andrew Yang does nothing, I hope everybody realizes that he is a nice guy, but he is a politician first, not wrestling, you know, fan. We're all, but again, he's a politician first. Remember that. So, and that's it. I tell it like it is. All right. Sure, it might not be the most popular thing to say, and maybe I lose, you know, statistics and viewers as a result. But I always, even if I look goofy like this, I always will tell it to you straight up. So anyway, AEW tonight, you know, the focus of tonight was to set up the pay-per-view. And I think AEW hit a home run with doing that tonight. Because when you look at Full Gear, which is taking place in 2 weeks, I don't think people realize that it's taking place in about 2.5 weeks. You have Kingston versus Moxley in an I Quit match. Something is going on with Brian Cage, and it seems like you might see something with Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, and, you know, we'll see who else is involved at Full Gear. As of right now, they have Cody versus Darby Dumbass for the TNT title. And, you know, people are starting to see what I'm talking about. Darby Allin is a talented wrestler. He is one of the big future stars in AEW. But tonight, Jackass meets Dumbass. I mean, if you didn't see it tonight, he basically went on top of like a ramp. You know, when you skateboard and you go, and he puts himself in a body bag, zips it up, and they didn't even do like a camera switch where maybe there was just a mannequin inside of something. They just went for camera angle. He zips it up, and then he rolls himself down. And the guy is in pain, even if it didn't hurt at all. I mean, I don't understand why AEW is allowing this to continue. You know, some people are starting to understand when I say that Darby Allin is a pain junkie. This guy has his adrenaline rush in the wrong directions. He's playing Russian roulette with a major injury. This guy's going to break his arm, break his neck, break his leg. I don't want to see it happen, obviously, and I'm not jealous. You know, I actually had a jackass say to me recently, hey, DT, you're just jealous because he could do that. Yeah, I always wanted in my life to zip myself in a body bag and roll down a mountain. I mean, he's turning into a dumbass, and I don't understand why AEW doesn't, you know, maybe reel him in a little bit and say, listen, are you a pro wrestler or are you a fucking stuntman? You know, or you just, are you trying out for Jackass 9? Because I was not impressed by that tonight. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up joining up with Team Taz. I can't believe that Taz, they have not picked up Darby Dumbass yet. They should be saying that on TV all the time. Darby Dumbass, Darby Dumbass. I don't want to see him injured. I want people to get that clear. I like Darby Allin. He's extremely talented. But these segments, what do they do? What do they do? I mean, when you see a car chase, everyone, seriously, you see a car chase. Of course you don't want to see anybody get killed. You don't want to see anybody get injured. But you want to see a car wreck. You watch that, you come home from work, you're on your lunch hour, you turn on the news, hey, what's going on? And there's a live car chase going. Chances are you might be 30 minutes late from work because you're just glued. You're just watching him drive down the highway for an hour. Why? Not because it looks cool. You want to see the end. You want to see the collision. You want to see the guy flipping over 1,000 times but survive. When you see things happen on TV, there's standoffs. You know, violent riots. You want to see the fires. You want to see the destruction. That's what's happening with Darby Allin. People aren't looking at this like, wow, he's a talented wannabe stuntman. No, people want to see him fucking crash. Every time he does this, he's the car on the highway being chased. They want to see an epic fail. And it sucks because how terrible is that sound that we want to see Darby Allin have an epic fail? Because an epic fail means serious injury. This isn't like he's riding down the street on a bicycle and like, look, no legs, woo-hoo, no feet. Or he's just like hanging on the edge of the handlebars like some people do, or this guy is literally, playing Russian roulette with his wrestling career. And could you imagine if he does one of these skits and he ends up getting a serious injury? Then what's everybody going to say? Are you going to blame it on AEW also for allowing this to continue? I don't understand why this is recorded and shown for everybody. Again, I'm not jealous at all. And it was cool to see Steve-O, but these segments, like I said, when AEW showed him jumping off a bridge, even though the bridge was not extremely high, and even if there was somebody else or it was just a mannequin inside the bag, the minute they aired that to show everyone, I'm saying to myself, Tony Khan, you're putting on a great product and you're 1 year in and you are definitely on the right path to extreme success. But shit like that just confuses me. I don't know what demographic you're getting. Are you looking for the dumbass demographic? I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. So, but anyway, getting back to AEW tonight. So tonight was really to set up Full Gear. We had the first round of the Eliminator title matches. One match was Wardlow beating Jungle Boy very handedly, I might add. Wardlow, I have brought it up before. There is video on YouTube of a lot of his work outside of AEW. The guy could actually go. He reminds me of a guy from WCW 2000 or 2001. Even though WCW went out of business and even though a lot of the storylines were terrible and the title changes were, every week, but, when they were trying to push the new blood and they had Chuck Palumbo and Big Vito and Reno and some of the others, sure, not all of them were very good, but they did have a core group. Look, for a very short period of time, we had Air Paris and AJ Styles in WCW. WCW had a nucleus of bright stars of tomorrow. When I look at Wardlow, he reminds me of someone from WCW 2000, where in that crop of like Big Vito and Chuck Palumbo and Reno and others, like he's got that look and that physique, and he's very good. I don't know. Yeah, Mike Sanders is another one. Absolutely. And what did Ken say? That everybody's calling him genius. Ken says he's surprised that none of the matches ended in a Broadway. I could agree with that, but the thing is, we only have Full Gear 2 weeks away. So we're down to 4 wrestlers in this tournament. After next week, we're going to be down to 2. Those 2 are going to fight at Full Gear. So it makes sense not to have anybody eliminated or, we didn't have clusterfucks either, which was very good too. But Wardlow advancing, like I said, if you go back to last week's show, we pretty much mapped out this whole tournament already. It's going to come down to Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, and that's going to be at the pay-per-view. And as a lot of you are starting to see very, very slowly, possibly the return of the Cleaner, or maybe AEW's version of the Cleaner. We got a little bit of signs of that tonight. Now, for all of you out there that remember the brackets last week, Kenny Omega was supposed to fight Joey Janela tonight. And as I said last week, with all due respect, I don't know why Joey Janela or Colt Cabana were in this tournament, because, just perception and number one contenders possibilities, I don't think they are in that category. Sure, maybe it's a little too soon to put Miedo in something like that. And hey, maybe Miedo could have just been DQ'd or, could have done something like that. But what happened was Joey Janela was pulled from tonight's Dynamite. And the reason being is because he was around someone who has COVID-19. So as a precaution, they are taking him off TV for 2 weeks, and Sonny Kiss was his replacement. Now, I know a lot of you were groaning and grunting, oh, why, Sonny Kiss, Omega, it's there's like no match there. Well, that's why it ended in less than a minute today. That was the right way to go. I will tell you, it was a little interesting that after Kenny Omega beat Sonny Kiss, and I'm sure you all have seen it, and this is one thing AEW does quite a bit, and I bring it up usually when it happens. You see some interaction in the ring that you feel like, okay, this person's going to turn on the other person. Like, even the other person seems a little bit confused, and they did that tonight with Omega and Sonny Kiss. Omega is helping Sonny Kiss up, raising Sonny Kiss's hand and, clapping and this and that. And, it was so over the top, like you expected Omega to just nail him. I understand you hold that until Full Gear. And maybe Omega beats Hangman Page at Full Gear. Omega helps up his former tag partner, puts his arm in the air, shows respect, and then just wails the crap out of him. That's probably what we may see at Full Gear. But, you see some of that happening a lot in the ring. So in the end, we had Wardlow advance from the beginning of the night, and we had Kenny Omega advance. And the first half of the night was pretty much just setting up the next bracket. Early in the show, we got to see some footage after Dynamite went off the air last week. And you may remember last week when I said that, remember the finish between Moxley and Archer, that it was just like a roll-up? And then you looked at the clock and you're like, shit, man. They had to go to the quick finish. And then you had the beatdown after. And I did see that clip where Pentagon was trying to whale Moxley with the chair last week, but Moxley wouldn't get up, and Pentagon threw the chair down, like pissed off. It's on camera. It's pretty funny when you go back and watch it. But, Eddie Kingston cut an awesome promo after Dynamite went off the air yesterday. They showed it tonight. And he was basically saying that Moxley sold out when he went for sports entertainment. He brought up Moxley's wife, Renee Young. He brought up a bunch of things. And I tell you, the off-the-air promo, it was better than what we saw on TV last week. Absolutely loved it. You had, Omega advance, and you have Wardlow advance, and then we have Colt Cabana versus Hangman Page. Now, a lot of you have pointed out, Hangman Page has not had the greatest matches since he has returned. The Stadium Stampede was fun, but since then, if you actually look at his matches closely, they really have amounted pretty much to nothing. Tonight's match with Colt Cabana showed probably a much higher level of Hangman Page, and that was needed. And that's the only reason why, in the end, I was fine with Colt Cabana being in this tournament, because the idea was Hangman Page is fighting a veteran. All right. Here, talk about confusing. When I said earlier about, you thought Omega may attack Sonny Kiss. After Colt Cabana lost, you had Dark Order people, always saying that they don't like Colt Cabana, and Colt Cabana loses, and they're picking him up. They're carrying him to the back. Oh, is your head hurt? You want an aspirin? Would you like a bottled water? Would you like a little massage in your neck? I honestly thought that the Dark Order was just going to beat the living crap out of him. And they just help him to the back, and we go to commercial. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh, man. Yes, I agree. It was the sloppiest match of the night, but it allowed Hangman Page to showcase more of what he can do. And the Hangman Page that we have seen in the ring for the last bunch of months is a far cry of when Hangman Page fought Jericho a year ago. So they need Hangman Page to go to the next level in time for his match against Kenny Omega at Full Gear if that match goes down. So next week, you know, you have Hangman Page versus Wardlow. I'll get to Ray Fenix and Pentagon in a second. But first, I'd like to shout out a few of our super chatters. Puffy89, what's up, Puffy? Hey, how you doing, Puffy? Hey. What would be my ultimate le dinner debonair? The waitress goes on the table and spreads her legs and like, you want any cocktail sauce with that fish? No. I'm very content with my significant other. Right now, being on keto, my dinner debonair order would be a nice steak. I'm not one of those people that enjoys a fatty steak, even though the diet I'm on, you're supposed to eat like 80% fat. So I'd rather have like a piece of filet mignon, and I'll put butter on it. I'll take 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of butter and just put it on top of the steak. Nice butter sauce, butter, wine, lemon sauce. I'm not even a big fish eater. Last week, I had branzini 2 nights in a row. One of my customers took me out to lunch, and then as most of you saw on Twitter, I took my fiance out for an anniversary dinner. But 2 of those 3 nights, I had branzini. And branzini, for people that don't know, here's a little food tip for everyone out there. If any of you out there ever go to like a seafood restaurant, and I guarantee there's some of you out there that don't like to eat seafood. Maybe you'll eat like a shrimp, or maybe some fried flounder, some fried clams or baked clams with breadcrumbs, garlic, and oil. But if you ever go to a seafood restaurant, like top notch, and you are almost in a situation where you have to order seafood, order branzini. If they have branzini on the menu, some people say branzino. Branzini is like a flounder fish, but there's no bones, and it's probably the least fishiest taste of them all. You eat this oreganata or a little bit of lemon and butter sauce on it, I'm telling you, you will say to me, DT, I can't stand fish, but I loved it. It's a weird fish because it doesn't have that fishy taste on it. You know, when they fillet it, they, take everything. It's excellent, excellent. So for me right now, my dinner debonair would be like spinach or broccoli rabe, a nice steak, definitely some butter. I just unfortunately can't have, bread, starches, and sugar. But yeah, that would be my dinner debonair. And yes, we will talk about MJF and Jericho in a couple of moments. JC Moya, shout out to you, my friend. Should it be Darby Allin next week versus Eddie Kingston? No, I don't think so, for the simple reason that I don't think Darby Allin should cross paths with Eddie Kingston's posse right now. Tonight, you could feel like, the factions are separating again. Like Taz is just Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. You see what happened with Will Hobbs. I like Will Hobbs, but as I said a couple of weeks ago, it felt so random to put him in that, 6-man with Mox and Darby Allin. And since then, he had that match with Brian Cage, and you realize that Will Hobbs is a beast, and he's on his way to being a star. Not yet. And you see very quickly how they have pretty much just, they don't know what to do with Will Hobbs, and it shows. It shows. You see how they can't fit a lot of wrestlers in every week. And that's fine for people like Guevara. That's fine for people like Santana and Ortiz and Matt Hardy. That's fine for Brian Cage, Lance Archer, and others. But when you do it to people like Will Hobbs that needs, you put him on national TV. Now you got to start doing something with him. They blew their load with the 6-man tag, and then they tried to do something with Brian Cage, and you saw how flat that felt. So I don't know what happens with him. But I think Kingston next week should fight someone that is totally unrelated. Hell, I would possibly, and I know what you're going to say to me. Well, it was Darby Allin, Will Hobbs, and Moxley. But the thing is that when Taz comes out there tonight and cuts the promo and brings up Will Hobbs and Darby Allin is fighting Cody on the next pay-per-view. So they don't want that to cross paths again. So what's going to happen? He's going to fight Darby Allin next week, an extra beatdown, and what is going to happen? Cody's going to make a stave? Cody's going to have to interact. So he's facing Darby Allin the following week. So, no, I don't think that should happen. I don't know who. I don't even know if Eddie Kingston even needs to have a match next week. I don't think so. You know, I don't even know if Jon Moxley is going to have a match next week. You know, remember, next week we have those 2 tournament matches. And then we also have... what was the other match that they... crap, I'm drawing a blank right now. Next week, they're... shit. I actually... Let me see over here. They announced something else. Cody versus Orange Cassidy. And Cody cut a promo with Dasha Fuentes early in the night. Cody's promo was a little interesting. Because if you look at it closely, Cody was a little bit... You know, between the lines, you know, like almost like a little bit heelish in his promo. Did you catch where Cody said that AEW is a light heavyweight promotion? Did anybody catch that? I'm curious if anybody caught that. Because they do have monsters. They have Archer. They have Brody Lee. They have big guys. Brian Cage, Will Hobbs. They have some big mammoth guys there. But when you go out of your way to say that AEW is pretty much a light heavyweight promotion, you know, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you. You want to give that aura that anybody at any time gets an opportunity. But when you're trying to portray it that, you know, he calls himself kind of like a giant killer, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, especially since Orange Cassidy is not a monster. You know, the promo was a weird one, to be honest with you. So, Ken, Terminator by TQ. What's up, Ken? When I talked about enhancement talents in WCW, was I talking about Virgil when he was Mike Jones? Oh, man, Virgil was... That guy, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you know about, you know, some of his antics since he's been retired. But, you know, the funniest is when he would show up in Manhattan. He would show up at like a train station and he would sign autographs for people and then charge them money. Like if somebody walks by, hey Virgil, hey, can you sign this for me? No problem. He signs it and then he's like, oh, you gotta give me money. You know, that guy, I honestly could say, I mean, he was not bad when he first got into wrestling. If you look at Virgil, before he aligned himself with Ted DiBiase, he actually had some ability. And I'm not saying that he lost that ability. It just wasn't needed in the role that he was in. But you look at, for the last 20 years, that guy has done so much with so little. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how he's become almost like an icon. You know, it's almost like an icon. He made that cameo in AEW that time, and everybody online was popping for it. So, good for him. Good for him. Where's Brody Lee? Probably in his hotel room. That's old school me. I used to be wise as people would be like during the show, it would be like 1 a.m. It would be like, where's The Rock right now? Oh, he's probably in his hotel room. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Where do you think he is right now? No, look, again, Brody Lee, he lost to Cody. And, you know, we really haven't had much since. Maybe he shows up next week. We will see. But I tell you, I'm a little... I really think Cody versus Orange Cassidy should have been saved for the pay-per-view. I would have done Cody versus Darby Allin next week, and then they could have teased something that whoever wins on that match takes on Orange Cassidy at Full Gear. And people could have even teased. I mean, we know that Cody's not losing that belt anytime soon. But could have teased the possibility of Darby Allin versus Orange Cassidy. And hell, they could have done that match next week. Darby versus Cody end in some type of clusterfuck, and then it becomes a three-way. Have we seen a three-way for the TNT title yet? I don't recall if we ever did. A lot of people like Wise SDT. Hey, man, it's the sign of the times. You mature a little bit, you wise up, you realize some things you say really offend people. So I try to, keep it a little bit more copacetic with everybody. Sure, you could shock people with some additional stuff, but I'd rather just be, authentic. Look at this. I'm saying that right now as I'm dressed like this. Goofy podcasters. It's Halloween, everybody. You all wanted me to dress up as something. A few of you said, go as Mario. So I oblige. I should be Darby Allin on Halloween? Boy, I'll tell you the truth, man. His makeup probably is not that hard to do, but if I did that, first of all, even though it's cold outside right now, it's hot in here. That makeup would probably wipe off. I would, look, you see there? See down there? See, when you point, when you're doing video, you got to do the opposite way. So even though the video is actually, the green head is here, I have to go here. But I was going to dress as that next week. I was going to get the green makeup and the fangs and do it. And then, I started really thinking about it. And I'm like, oh, you know what? A half hour in, all that green makeup is going to be washing off. And we're going to get done by like 12:30 in the morning, midnight, whatever it is. I really don't feel like washing off tons of makeup when I got to go to the office the next day. So for me, it'd be a lot easier if I just put a mask on or do something, But, I will tell you this. Maybe later on in the year or next year, we'll do some random dress-ups. Maybe when we hit milestones, maybe every 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers, we'll do something. But I will tell you this, and I'm dead serious when I say this. If I ever put the makeup on like Darby Allin, first of all, I look like I swallowed 5 Darby Allins. But if I did that, I would have to do something stupid in this room. I would have to break a bottle over my head or something. You can't dress like Darby Allin without doing something stupid, So, I'll have to think of something. I'll have to think of something to do very, very stupid. So I'm not just Darby, I'm Darby Dumbass. So, Benjamin, I do have sugar bottles. I have them in my office. I actually ordered it for one of my customers that was a magician. And he was doing this whole act with sugar bottles. And then I don't know what happened, but he disappeared and his insurance canceled. So in the back room, I have 6 bottles that are all stunt bottles. And I thought about doing one on this show over here. But the only thing you got to be afraid of is if you press too hard, you break the thing. You remember Moxley picking up the champagne bottle and bashing it over Jericho that time? If you go back and you look at it closely in AEW, he grabbed the sugar bottle too tight and it actually broke before. So you got to be very careful with those, especially the ones that you fill with liquid. Man, that's a very risky thing to do on live TV. Very risky thing to do on live TV. And Tyree Jones, what's up, Tyree? Hope you're enjoying, your day. Hope you enjoyed both shows tonight. And, thank you for the support. Seriously. I don't know what your message was, but if you want to repost it, you don't have to super chat. Just repost it. Let me know what you were going to say. And finally, Jeremy Westbrook. AEW, you know what? I think, I have to have everything perfect over here. I don't like that names are cut off over here. So that's a little better. So Jeremy says, AEW has to take the title off of Moxley. It's boring. That's why I like doing the quarter-hour ratings. We do them on Friday. And if you follow, I do it every week, you see a pattern of some people. And Moxley, we all like Moxley. And he is 1,000 times better in AEW than he was in WWE. And I don't have much of an argument of him being number 1 on PWI. I would have put Adam Cole number 1 and him number 2. And speaking of Adam Cole, we got a little twist to a storyline tonight on NXT, which I like, but I don't like. We'll get into that in a moment. But, the thing is, Moxley has not popped ratings. If you follow it, it hasn't been impressive at all. The thing you got to ask yourself, though, is if you take the belt off of Mox, who do you put it on? MJF, obviously, it's not the right time yet. It'll happen, but it's not the right time. And you can't just look at somebody on the roster and say, oh, put it on this person. You have to have a story develop, build up, lead to a pay-per-view, lead to something. You don't watch Shock TV where suddenly someone challenges him and he loses the title. Then you're wondering, why did he lose it? Did something happen? So right now, they're almost in a little bit of a bind because, who else do you put it on right now? And as much as I love Eddie Kingston, I don't think Eddie Kingston as the AEW heavyweight champion would be probably, the right way to go right now. I mean, I'll be honest with you, remember what I said about Finn Balor. They're going to have to take the title off him. I mean, they could possibly have him return to TV in 2 weeks and then build a storyline where they milk another 2-3 weeks to lead to a match. But even that is only a month and a half after the surgery, and I even think that is way too soon. I think right now they don't know what to do about the NXT Heavyweight Championship. But I will tell you this. I showed you the picture before. I feel it coming. I feel it coming. Not guess, but I feel it coming that 2021 is going to be this guy's year. Not Jeremy Westbrook. All due respect, it's going to be Omega's year. I think it almost feels like, okay, you have a prince, I'll raise you a cleaner. And I think they are now going to put a lot of momentum behind Kenny Omega. I just feel it coming. You feel that, and you see it with the Young Bucks also. I don't know if the Young Bucks beat FTR the first time around, but you could see that AEW for the first year, yes, Cody got a lot of ride. Yes, Jericho got a lot of ride. But with Cody, they immediately did the stipulation he can't fight for the heavyweight title. Maybe that's part of the reason why Cody said what he said tonight, because it's not really a heavyweight division. But Omega, yes, they were tag champs, but you felt like they kept him pulled back a little bit. Young Bucks, even though they weren't champions, they were featured on every person that got beat up, there was a baby face. Here's Superbucks around ringside. You okay, Rock and Roll Express? You okay, blah, 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 blah? You okay, Diamond Dallas Page? Are you okay? You okay? You okay? You okay? So now it feels like, okay, we're in year 2, and we're breaking out of COVID. We'll have the vaccine soon. I think here is where they start turning it up a little bit. If COVID didn't happen, some of what you're seeing now with the Young Bucks now getting title opportunities and Omega getting pushed to the moon, that may have happened sooner. Could have very well happened sooner. And remember Hangman Page's eyes? You remember early in the year before COVID? Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. He was going to snap. They may have done that split way back then. So, I'm telling you, I see it coming. It feels like Omega is going to be the guy, and that's the reason why they're having Justin Roberts reading his wiki page. You see Justin Roberts out there today, the 2017 Wrestler of the Year, the 2018, the 5th grader of the year in 1980. He read his resume to show everyone this guy is serious business. So that's where I see that going. So. And who's telling me he could finally super chat? Prince Alberts, what'd you get, a job? I'm joking. That's just salty DT. Sources tells him it's going to Don Tony. Thank you very much, Prince. Actually, you know what? You could help me decide on, maybe what I wear next week or next Friday. Next Friday is going to be right around Halloween. Yeah, next Friday. No, next Saturday's Halloween. So maybe Friday. We'll wear something too. We'll see. Maybe I have to ask Shaheen, who does my artwork. I'll ask him to do a Friday Don Tony show with the Halloween thing. I'm sure it's probably easy for him to do. But, yeah, and they mentioned ratings with matches. You know, look, again, I don't care that people mention Meltzer ratings. You know, I look at it like, hey, if you don't like Meltzer, just ignore it. You know, just don't pay attention to it. You know, they obviously, you know, appreciate Meltzer, and that's fine. Some people on the net truly don't like Meltzer, and I respect. I'm one of the few people that subscribe to Meltzer's newsletter and Vince Russo's podcast, and they don't get along. So, but wow, I can't believe I'm still wearing this stuff. But oh boy, maybe we'll be able to make the whole show. What are we, 55 minutes in? Maybe we'll make the whole show. It's 11:02 right now. I'd like to be done by 11:30, 11:45. That would be awesome for tonight. This shit is hot. You know, I mean, cardio. Maybe I'll use that one for later. Actually, you know what? You're really not supposed to do the middle finger. That's why I just do this. Maybe it's better without the glasses. So getting back to AEW, and as you see, little out of place. That's how we do this. By the way, I know this is going to sound really, really stupid, because I don't follow Allie's career all that much. You know, I know she was the bunny, and then she was Allie, girlfriend of Who Dat. Let me ask you all this. I was just thinking about it tonight, and please tell me if they have said this before. It's just I haven't noticed it. But if they haven't said it before, I actually think this would be good. Allie, who is the bunny, and now she's back with the Butcher and the Blade. You know, they set it up on Dark yesterday, and you saw it, you know, they pretty much on social media develop, and now she's back with the Butcher and the Blade. Have they ever called her Dark Allie? I'm just curious. Have they ever called her Dark Allie? Because I'm thinking about it. You know, I understand you have the Dark Order, and I understand you have AEW Dark, but when people hear AEW Dark, they don't think, oh, that's the Dark Order. Oh, it's not like SmackDown. You know, the show that based on The Rock, when he used to always say, lay it this SmackDown. Nobody thinks AEW Dark and Dark Order is the same thing. But I was thinking, you know, since Allie is back on the dark side, you know, maybe her finisher should be like Dark Alley. You know, think about it. Dark Alley. It kind of like makes sense. So for me, I look at Allie back as the bunny. I look at her as, she's not the bunny. She's Dark Alley. I like Dark Alley. Dark Alley. Darby Alley. Dark Alley. So, but anyway, so getting back to tonight's show, we had Hangman Page beat Colt Cabana. A little bit sloppy here and there. The match of the night, I wish it went a little bit longer. I don't know if it was cut short because of Rey Fenix. You know, Rey Fenix, and if you remember last week's show, I told you point blank, I would have loved to see Pentagon advance to take on Kenny Omega. But you could tell, and I even said this last week, you could tell that AEW has much more love for Rey Fenix. And we all thought Rey Fenix was advancing. But he did a move off the top rope and landed really, really awkwardly. And, you know, the announcers were trying to cover it up. You could see Aubrey Edwards checking on him repeatedly. He got knocked for a loop, and it was a shame because you see these two brothers going at it in the ring, and they were doing something special. You know, for me, you did when they were saying you saw moves tonight you've never seen before. You know, we've all seen some of those moves, but in AEW you don't rarely ever see go to that level. The Chop Fest, and I've brought this up before, whenever I see a Chop Fest like that, I always think back to XPW. And if any of you out there ever get the privilege or the treat of interviewing Jerry Lynn, because Jerry Lynn, I believe, is involved with AEW also, I think he probably would talk about these. But one of my most fondest memories of working for XPW and being, you know, in the hotel with a lot of these guys. I'll never forget, there was one night that we were in my hotel room and there was a bunch of XPW guys. There was Chaos, Supreme, Vic Grimes, Pogo the Clown, Jerry Lynn, and a few others. And I honestly don't remember who he did it against. Might have been Danny Doring. I don't know. I can't remember. But they used to do this chop game where they would just chop each other until somebody gave up. And I don't remember how it led to it, but you know what? It could have very well been Jerry Lynn and Chaos. But out of nowhere, they start this chop fest. And Jerry Lynn is chopping this guy and, you know, in the hotel room and he's shirtless, chopping back, and you just see the red immediately appear. And it was so goddamn painful. But whenever I see, you know, on TV, like we saw tonight with Ray Fenix and Pentagon, you know, when they're doing and he's taking the glove off and he's chopping them, that is just outstanding. Now, you know, you saw what happened with Principe Ario that I talked about on Monday. Unfortunately, he passed over the weekend wrestling in the ring in Mexico at the age of 26. But right before that, he was getting some stiff chops to the chest. And I know a lot of you out there always feel like, my God, how does that not do damage to the chest? I'm not a medical doctor. I couldn't tell you. But that stings like a mofo. I mean, when me and my friends used to backyard, you know, and just mess around with each other. And I don't mean backyard like when we had like people there like watching us and everything. I'm talking about hanging out in my friend's backyard and then somebody just decides to start, you know, putting net breakers on each other. I remember my friend hit me with a pile driver on his steps walking down to his basement, and the edge of the step hit me in the head, knocked me out for about 15 seconds. You know, we used to just do crazy crap with each other. I'm talking 80s now. You know, could you imagine if the wrestling moves that we've seen over the last 20 years, the high-flying stuff from Mysterio to Ray Fenix, if I was a kid 20 years later, instead of doing a pile driver on the steps, my friend probably would have went on the roof and did like a corkscrew, you know, we would have been dead. But so these, you see those chop fests on TV, they are something special because it really does hurt. And, you know, it's more of a battle of toughness. Who could tough it out and take the chops? Walter, my God. You ever see those slow motion videos when Walter chops someone? There's one that's floating around now that happened very recently. And you see Walter just chop the guy's chest. And you literally see like the skin and the flab in slow motion go like this. Almost looks like, you know, like I kind of look like a stripper right now, like dancing. Like, no, but you see it in slow motion. That match was beautiful today. But Ray Fenix, you know, they used to, and I still say it like when you drink, know when to say when. I think with Ray Fenix, you know, he doesn't have to do an extra flip. Or he doesn't have to jump this way or some, you know, if you pull it back just a little bit. And I'm not trying to critique how he should do his stuff. His stuff is incredible. I couldn't even do that in a video game. But, you know, you saw not too long ago where Ray Fenix did that dive outside the ring. They did some type of battle royal or some scramble. And he did a move where there was this much room between the ring and the guardrail. And people were very, very worried. You know, so, you know, Ray Fenix is one of the most talented high flyers in pro wrestling today. But you got to scale it back just a little bit because that was scary today. I mean, and, you know, you got to try to eliminate those. But it was just an absolutely outstanding match. And, yeah, people are talking about it, you know. Yeah, people are reminiscing about, you know, doing some backyard. It's not even, it's like basement wrestling. You know, you just beat your friends to a pulp. My God, I would be dead. Seriously. In my lifetime, when I told you all that story about the guy it wasn't bullying. I mean, you look at it now, everybody calls it bullying, but this guy was just a dick when I was in grammar school in 8th grade, and finally I had a fight with him. He put me in a headlock, and my instinct was just pick him up and fall backwards. The back of his head hit a rock. He got the wind knocked out of him, and you see this Irish guy with about 1,000 freckles on his face. He's laying on the floor going, and, he got knocked for a loop. And everybody's cheering me and everything like that. And I'm saying to myself, I stepped in shit. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just picked him up and fell backwards. Hey, I did a suplex. But, yeah, a lot of you remember that story. Oh, thank you. But in the end, Rey Fenix gets the win. I agree with a lot of you out there. Maybe you take a couple of minutes off of Paige and Cabana's match and you give it to Fenix and Pentagon. Problem is, we don't know if that match was cut short because of what happened. But it looks like he's okay. And next week, it'll be Rey Fenix versus Kenny Omega, and that is going to be an outstanding match. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see how long they let him go. That's what I want to see. I mean, I think they will let him go for quite a while, but outstanding match. I wouldn't say match of the year. If they would have gone another 5 to 10 minutes, then maybe, but it was phenomenal. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet and you like these two guys, their work, go check it out. Definitely worth watching. Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy at Full Gear is another match that appears to be going down. So when you look at Full Gear's lineup, it's an impressive lineup, a very impressive lineup. I think it's going to be a phenomenal card. I don't know how many of the results are going to be predictable. I'll tell you the truth. It kind of feels like AEW and/or Matt Hardy, well, I should say AEW and possibly Matt Hardy, want to go out of their way to give a bone to Sammy Guevara, because the last time they did that stupid stipulation that if Matt Hardy loses, he's going to leave AEW. What a dumb stipulation. You put such a crutch in that match that, God forbid, Matt Hardy gets injured and then they have to go to a finish that now, because they adhere to the stipulations, that was never needed in that match. And, I think now it almost feels like maybe something happens with Guevara getting a win. We don't know. But, the reveal of Guevara being the attacker of Matt Hardy was almost as uneventful as Ali on Monday saying, oh, by the way, everybody, I was the hacker. 26 weeks for that crap. Oh, by the way, I was the hacker. Britt Baker beating KiLynn King tonight. Very one-sided. She wins with the mandible claw. Britt Baker definitely has improved over the last year. Hopefully they don't do any more of the god-awful cinematic matches with her. Not needed. We had the tag team main event. I didn't forget about Jericho and MJF. We had the tag team main event, which was the Young Bucks defeating Private Party, Butcher and the Blade, John Silver and Alex Reynolds, number one contenders match. So the Young Bucks are now going to face FTR. So now we actually, after the match is over, we had FTR and the Young Bucks going at it a little bit. And the Young Bucks were laid out in the ring. And it is a little bit confusing because seriously, who do you feel? AJ Blair says, poor KiLynn King. Listen, I understand what you're saying, but to the regular mainstream wrestling fan that doesn't go to the extent of watching AEW Dark, that doesn't go to the extent of watching some of the lower indie cards out there, they're getting introduced to KiLynn King for the first time, for the most part. So, it's not because of her losing today. I mean, look what happened with Timothy Thatcher and Anthony Green. How many of you out there that followed Evolve and some other promotions that absolutely love Anthony Green? And when I posted the photo, couple of weeks ago when WWE signed some of them to the contract. I put the names under each person. The number one person I think that got the response from all of you out there was Anthony Green. And tonight, they had him do something with Thatcher. Didn't leave him looking all that great. Anthony Green's career just started. KiLynn King's career, she just started. So I wouldn't be concerned about this tonight. Although, I'm going to be honest with you, there is something weird about watching some people on AEW Dark online, and then you watch them on your television on TNT for Dynamite, and they look different. And I'm not saying this about KiLynn King, but I think some of you will agree with me on this. Some people, just the way they look, their outfits, their style, the lack of a character attached to it or unique look. On AEW Dark, you don't think about that all that much, but on Dynamite, it stands out like a sore thumb. KiLynn King, even before the match started, looked like enhancement talent. When she's on Dark, it doesn't give you that same aura. I can't explain that, but I wouldn't be concerned. I would not be concerned. But Young Bucks getting the win. The money match obviously is Young Bucks versus FTR. But I got a good question for you all that are live right now in the chat. Of FTR and the Young Bucks, who do you think AEW or who do you cheer for? And don't say Young Bucks because you're a Young Bucks fan. I'm just saying follow the storyline where Young Bucks is hitting refs, Shivani, getting fined. It wasn't like baby faces just wreaking havoc. It came off as, two, punks, that just doesn't care about authority. And the Young Bucks, and I'm not complaining, but the Young Bucks came off to me as heels. And then tonight you have FTR, laying them out. And it almost felt like, we're supposed to show sympathy for the Young Bucks. I'm very confused with this. I still think back when the Young Bucks were walking with Kenny Omega after the last pay-per-view, walking all the way down that parking lot. For 5-10 minutes, we're watching this goofy segment on TV. You're with me or you're not with me? And you're with me. And it's just like, I don't know. The character development over the last month and a half has been a little shitty, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, of the two, I like FTR. I like Tully Blanchard as their manager as well. Very old school. But, it's going to be interesting. Are we going to see a new version of the Elite? I think it's coming. I think right now, Hangman Page, I think, is the real wild card out of all of this. Because what has he become? He's become like the babyface cowboy. Then you got to cut back on the drunk stuff because they're poking fun at it. But the storyline makes him look more like an addict, like someone with a serious alcoholic problem. I mean, you look over the years in wrestling where people's abuse of, alcohol or narcotics gets played out on TV. I don't recall it ever ending all that well. When they did Scott Hall showing up with the cup at ringside, or even when they did that with Hawk. I mean, yeah, it's WWE, and maybe AEW has some knack to do it differently, but I'm not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling it. I'm very confused where things go from here. And Jeremy Westbrook says, I am the only podcaster that suspends bias. Yeah, man, look, of course, misery loves company, and it's sad, man. You go on Twitter, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Raw sucks more than it's awesome, easily. SmackDown, maybe a little better, but Raw is not a great show. They wouldn't have lost 33% of their audience in 2 years, and don't blame it on COVID. All right. But the thing is that, you see people on social media that week after week after week will tweet one-liner insults about how this person sucks, this person should be fired, this person is garbage, this person looks like a jobber, this person is this person is a goof, and, you know, people just sit back and feed into it by liking it and say, and once in a while you get somebody that calls them out like, hey man, if you fucking don't like the show that much, why are you watching this right now? And you know they're doing it because they just want to get a reaction and feel like they're part of a conversation. And it's sad. But me, I'd rather just tell you straight up, man. I don't, you know, I'll call out AEW on shit I don't like as I do NXT and others promotions out there. And yeah, I might lose viewers over it. If I just stood here and ripped everything to pieces every week, I probably would have a different type of audience. If I gushed and praised everything, because there are people out there that do that towards AEW and NXT. Oh my God, I'm in tears. I'm so choked up right now. The emotion is so, like, there's people that do that too. I can't be that. I can't be that. So, you know, I appreciate what you said, and that is an awesome compliment for yours truly. I thank you for that. I really do. So, and also, he says FTR, the only structured tag team on the roster. I wouldn't say that. I think Private Party is doing very well. They're trying to catch up with some of the Dark Order members. You know, the Young Bucks are fine, obviously. They've got probably one of the time. You know, it's interesting. Before they split up Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, there was a lot of people saying that AEW's got the best tag team division in recent memory of anywhere. In fact, I even think Meltzer had said that might have been the greatest tag team division in 30 years or whatever. He made some claim like that. Hey, look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I wouldn't go that far, but you look at the nucleus of the tag team division, but you see even the Jericho stuff. He was teaming with Hager for a little while. Oh, they were going to go maybe for the tag titles, and that kind of feels like that fizzled out very, very quickly. Although next week we're going to have like a State of the Union or, you know, some, you know, meeting in the minds with the Inner Circle. That's obviously going to involve MJF as well. Pay very close attention next week to Guevara, Hager, and Jericho. And I know what some of you are going to say right now. Oh, that's 60% of the whole Inner Circle. No, I mean because something may develop of those three people. Jericho and Hager might develop together. I still think, you know, you could down the line do one or two things. You could have Guevara have his Randy Orton moment, a la Evolution, or you could have Hager and Jericho get booted from the Inner Circle, and the Inner Circle hybrids into something different. So I think next Monday is going to shift the direction of the Inner Circle. And yeah, Santana Ortiz, the Lucha Bros. Those are two other tag teams. Phenomenal. Best Friends we didn't even talk about, even though Best Friends is probably my lowest on the food chain. I don't like Kip Sabian and Miro together. It still feels extremely forced. I'm enjoying it, but it does feel thrown together. And there's other people teaming up that we haven't even talked about either. So, Devin, thank you for the kind words. She's not mad. She's not my wife yet. We got engaged November of last year. We were looking to get married next year, but that we may have to put it off to 2022. In fact, I was just very quickly, I was testing her out the other day. October 16th was our 8-year anniversary dating. So I looked 2 years from now to see October 16th on the calendar, 2022, which would be our 10-year anniversary together. And it lands on a Sunday. So over the weekend, I said, honey, I said, did you see what day October 16th, 2022 lands on? And she's like, what day? I said, it lands on a Sunday. And she's like, yeah, and? I'm like, that would be our 10-year anniversary. I said, just stupid idea. Don't you think that would be cool maybe if we made the date on our 10-year anniversary, you know? And she's like, I ain't fucking waiting that long. So I realized that was a dumb idea. So I'm always trying to think, and she's probably looking at this right now and saying, you know what, DT, a dumb idea as well, doing this. But it's Halloween. I don't care. I can't believe we're still doing this. I should take the Should I take the mustache off? Because I still got a mustache. Should I leave? No, we'll leave it on. I hope it sticks still. It's all sweaty. And I smell breath. So that's another reason why I want to end this sooner. Jeremy thinks Hangman's career would have been better in NXT. I don't think so. There's too many names that he would have a hard time leaping over. And the Cowboy stuff in NXT, I don't know if it would work. I don't know, because you got to look at the WWE universe. I mean, look at everybody who's in Thunderdome right now. Sure, I think there's a lot of people in Thunderdome that are in Thunderdome because it's Thunderdome. You know, I mean, I watched that main event with Ember Moon 2 weeks ago, and I told all of you, just look at Thunderdome during that main event. People were like, you know, like they just weren't into it. And you watch some people, you know, they're not into it. But Hangman Page's character, I don't know if it would have gotten over as well as it did. You know, I see people now all of a sudden having this crazy love fest that, oh my God, James Storm, I can't believe WWE never did anything with him, this and that. And I'm looking back and I'm like, when? Where? Against who? You know, I know it sounds like a great idea. And now because he was, I mean, America's Most Wanted was awesome. Don't get me wrong. But there's some people that just wouldn't adapt all that well in some promotions. I don't think Hangman Page would have been one of them. You know, maybe once he becomes a heavyweight champion AEW, another year or two under his belt, gets a lot of attention, fans return, that interaction, that's different. Right now, I just don't see it, to be honest with you. I don't see it. Brandon Jones, Raw doesn't suck. Some of the storylines suck, but he thinks, yeah, Raw, no. I'm not saying that Raw is a terrible show. I would not be doing Raw recaps every week if it was terrible. It's the story. It's the storylines. There are a lot of great wrestlers on Raw. There's a lot of great wrestlers on SmackDown. It's just some people get bogged down in these storylines that eat up a lot of time, and this 50-50 booking. You know, and I don't talk too much about 50-50 in booking, but, you know, when you have certain storylines need some people to win. Killian, like, I know it's taking a big step down, but Killian Dane and Drake Maverick losing last week was just mind-boggling. Retribution losing clean to the Hurt Business Monday was mind-boggling. Keith Lee losing to Braun Strowman Monday was mind-boggling. And, you know, in the end, I'm sure some of them will do just fine. And, you know, but, you know, just some of the decision-making is quite awful, in my opinion. And, yes, Jeremy, it was said about Adam Cole. But, you know, the thing is, I don't see WWE allowing someone to have an alcoholic drinking problem gimmick on TV, you know, where he's constantly drinking. I know we could go back to Steve Austin if you want to go Sandman and others, but in this day and age, I just don't see them pushing someone that has, like, the drinking like that. I just don't see it. And the Cowboy stuff, you know, I don't know. And you got to understand something too. I mean, Hangman Page was on crazy momentum last year. A lot of us thought he might be the first AEW heavyweight champion. Obviously, they made the right decision with Jericho. But the point is, you know, there hasn't been much done with him in the last 9 months. I mean, we all like him, and he's still very popular. But, you know, and Adam Cole, I mean, is just on another level. You know, Hangman Page, I think Adam Cole cuts a promo 1,000 times better than Hangman Page. It's two totally different styles and characters. But thank you, Who's Dad? I wanted, you know, some of you out there, like I said before, wanted me to dress up for Halloween. You know, we could have a little bit of fun. You're never too old to do that. And it fit. Can't believe it fit, even though if you saw earlier, my ass, it looks like I'm wearing a thong right now. It is so far up my ass. Oh, and this is a full outfit. It goes all the way down to the feet because it's meant to go out and wear this, But it's hot though. It's very, very hot. So we're going to start speeding up the show a little bit so we could end this. So just to fill in one important moment tonight on AEW, the steak dinner, Le Dîner Debonair, with Chris Jericho and MJF. And, they're sitting at the dinner table. There's a weird curtain next, behind them or to the left of them. And some waitress comes over, Ivan or Ilvan or whatever it is, and she wants to take their order. And MJF says that he wants a 20-ounce porterhouse steak, baked potato on the side, well done. That was his order. No, James. They didn't order it rare. He first ordered it well done. Chris Jericho, and you remember the Bugs Bunny episode where you had Bugs Bunny and some other bunny, and they're all trying to impress some girl. I mean, they weren't trying to impress a girl tonight, but each one tried to one-up each other. Like, they were going up the rabbit hole. So basically what happened was MJF wanted his steak well done. Jericho says, whoa, what was the waitress's name? I got to say the waitress's name. Was it Yvonne? Levon? Well, no, I don't think it would be a Levon, but Yvonne. I don't know. We're like 8-second delay here, so people on the archive. What was it? What was her name? Was it Yvonne? Velma and Louise. No, that's Thelma and Louise. Velma, give me a pizza. Velma, pizza, Mario. MJF says, Velma, I want a porterhouse steak, 20-ounce with a baked potato, well done. Chris Jericho says to Velma, well, you know what? I want a 20-ounce porterhouse steak with a baked potato. I want it medium well. So MJF says, you know what, Velma? Scratch my order. I want a 20-ounce porterhouse steak with a baked potato on the side, cooked medium. Chris Jericho tells Velma to cancel his order, and he wants his steak medium rare. MJF tells Velma, you know what, Velma? Instead, I want a 20-ounce porterhouse steak with a baked potato rare. And then Jericho tells Velma, I want it extra bloody. Now, we could have gone a different route that involves females. That was my thought, but I know they're not going to get gross like that. But Jericho wants the bloodiest steak. And Jericho says to MJF, now I didn't take notes with this. I don't even know how you take notes with this. But Jericho's sitting at the table with MJF. And he's telling MJF, you haven't said nothing in 20 minutes and this and that. And they talk about next week with the Inner Circle, the town hall, blah, 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 blah. And MJF is convinced that they'd be a great team together, this and that. And the next thing you know, as I showed you earlier, they start doing like a musical. Now, if anyone out there has never been, oh, that's something else I got to cover in a minute. Oh, that's something else I got to cover. Oh, did I closed it by accident. That's okay. If you've ever been to a musical, you understood what happened tonight. I understand pro wrestling is not a musical, but they did. Yeah, Lone Wolf, you got it. Yeah. Give me, I want a very bloody steak. Yeah, we're not going to go there. But, I've been to many musicals, and I've told this story recently. Stephen DeAngelis, who was the announcer for ECW back in the day, a lot of people called him Horshack, the guy with the beard. When WWE first did their version of ECW, they were going to bring him in, but instead I think they went to Justin Roberts instead. I was Stephen DeAngelis' guest for a lot of off-Broadway plays back in the day. And some of them be musicals. And you would be in a very serious scene, and instead of somebody saying like, "I'm going to kill you, you bastard," all of a sudden music would hit. I'd be sitting in front row and be like, "I'm going to kill you. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. This probably looks extremely goofy as Mario, but..." And then they would struggle, but it looked like a dance. You know, it was all choreographed. And that's what a musical is. And basically what we got tonight was a satire of a musical. MJF and Jericho singing like it's the 1940s, the 1950s. I mean, there's a reason why they showed the black and white photo online after. I agree with some of you out there that MJF's character up to now should not be goofy like this. But it was satire. It was hilarious. You could see Jericho and MJF have amazing chemistry together. I know some of you may even compare that chemistry with Jericho and Kevin Owens. I thought it was hilarious. MJF harmonizing in the end, yes. AJ Blair, it was fine. It was fine. If I would have done, if you insist on me telling you, DT, if you could change one thing about it, what would you change? What I probably would have done is I would have had that be in someone's head. What I mean by that is maybe MJF is sitting at the table and Jericho's talking to him and saying, you know, like, or MJF, I got a better one. MJF is telling Jericho, you know, we'd be a great team together and this and that. And then you ever see like a TV show or a movie where one person's talking to the other, and then all of a sudden, like the voice, it starts to fade out. You hear a little echo, and then the other person starts daydreaming and they start envisioning something. Like they could have done that where MJF was telling Jericho at the dinner table, you know, like we'd be a great team, this and that, and it starts fading away, and then you lead to this musical, and then at the very end, like you hear like Velma say, "Here's your order," and then you realize Chris Jericho is just daydreaming. That's dream sequence. Thank you, Dorian. I know there was a professional way to say it. Bravo. Dream sequence. I would have done a dream sequence because it would have been all in Jericho's head. You could have done that with MJF also, but it would have all been Jericho's head. Jericho could have been just daydreaming, and then Velma brings the steaks over and they're uncooked, and then they leave. Then when they blamed it on Orange Cassidy, you know, once again, it kind of felt like, you know, because they were talking about ratings too. And I even think Jericho said, like, the ratings suck, you know, which was pretty funny. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. It was a funny segment. Again, if you ask me to change one thing, I would have changed it to a dream sequence. But AEW did a good job tonight setting up the pay-per-view. Now, NXT on the opposite side, though, you know, it was a decent show. I probably liked it a little bit better than last week, but you got, again, that same formula. NXT opens up with a very long match. Good. Don't take that away. Good match. But it opens up with a long match. Then they do one or two matches that are quick clusterfucks. Lots of vignettes. Then they go back to another very long match, another short match, more vignettes, and then main event. And you see where it's going with it. Tonight, instead of 2 weeks ago of Kushida versus Tommaso Ciampa, where Velveteen Dream interfered and the whole match went to shit. Tonight they have a three-way. And, you know, Dream comes out, gets attacked by Ciampa. Then Kushida enters the ring. And they had a phenomenal match. I'll tell you, you actually, even though if you don't like Velveteen Dream, you look at the stamina with Kushida, Velveteen Dream, and even Tommaso Ciampa to an extent. There's not many guys that could go at that high speed for that long during a match. You had really no downtime in this match whatsoever. I mean, look at all the times Velveteen Dream got thrown outside the ring towards the end, over and over and over again. And Kushida, my God, Kushida's like the Japanese Energizer Bunny. This guy runs to one side of the ring, dives out, runs to the other side of the ring, runs back to this side. That guy, my God, that is just amazing. And I'm very happy that they're starting to really showcase Kushida. Kushida is one special guy. You could see it already. Velveteen Dream wearing sort of like a cast on his left arm, selling the injury. It might have been his right arm, actually. No, I think it was the left arm. But basically, this match went on for about 20 minutes. And, you know, the ending, maybe you call it a little bit of a clusterfuck, but what happened was Velveteen Dream kept getting knocked outside the ring. There was one spot that I have to bring up where I'm trying to remember. I think it was it Ciampa? Somebody entered the ring, and I think Ciampa hit him with a DDT. And it was just, the whole sequence was just unbelievable. It's going to be interesting to see the quarter-hour rating to open up both shows. Because on one side, you have Wardlow and Jungle Boy, which was more of a squash if you think about it. And on the opposite side, you had these three guys going. These three guys tore it up. But you had one point where Velveteen Dream kept getting knocked outside the ring. And then you thought for a minute that Ciampa was going to get the win. But then Kushida throws Ciampa against the middle rope, you know, the side of the ring. And Velveteen Dream was climbing the ring at the same time. And Velveteen Dream's cast, Ciampa accidentally fell into it. Why are you telling me to hell with chat side forums? He's not even here tonight. So why would you even have a problem with him? Well, anyway, Kushida throws Tommaso Ciampa against the rope on the side of the ring. Velveteen Dream is climbing the ring at the same time. And basically what he does is Ciampa's head connects with Dream's cast. So Tommaso Ciampa is in a little bit of a daze. Kushida, you know, lands his move to hold the German suplex. And Ciampa's out. Kushida gets the win. It was a phenomenal match, and I'll tell you, it really kept my interest. At this point, the first 30 minutes of AEW and NXT, I kind of enjoyed NXT more. After this match was over, for the rest of the night, it was pretty much downhill for me for NXT. After this, we had the Undisputed Era backstage, and they had Adam Cole on like a monitor, tiny little monitor, about this big, and the Undisputed Era there. And remember, the main event tonight was supposed to be Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong versus Breezango for the tag titles. And if you followed my show, since Breezango won those belts, you knew my concern with Breezango keeping them. And unfortunately, what went down tonight is what many of you and I predicted was going to happen right around this time as well. So here we're thinking, okay, this is the main event tonight. And it's an interesting thought that on both sides, you could very well end up having both members of Bullet Club reigning as champions if Omega wins the belt soon. Tonight, with the TV shows, we would have had tag team matches for both main events because they announced that the tag titles were on the line as the main event tonight on NXT, and on the AEW side, it was the four-way tag match. So here's where you start getting the corny stuff. On Halloween Havoc next week, you got Johnny Gargano versus Damian Priest. And it is the spin the wheel, make the deal, which I like. those segments will not be live, though. They're not going to take the chance and have it land on something that they really don't want. If you saw those segments with the segment tonight with Gargano and LeRae in the house, and they spun that wheel, this thing, that's a pretty cool wheel. I like that. The desktop version, if you zoom in on a little bit, I mean, they had some pretty funny choices there. But every time they spun the wheel, if you looked up close, like the camera switched. So when they landed on Buried Alive for Gargano, and then it landed on Casket Match, and Gargano was all like, shaken up over it, I'm saying to myself, could you imagine how many times they must have spun that wheel to finally have it land on those things? Because those were pre-recorded, the spins. But I like that. I thought that was pretty cool. So, they were doing that tonight. I'll tell you, of all of the home segments with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, tonight's I enjoyed the most. I honestly thought I enjoyed it the most. But next week, Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano is going to be the spin the wheel, make the deal. And Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai is also going to be spin the wheel, make the deal. So the Garganos have the spin the wheel, make the deal. No one else does. But next week, we're going to get Raquel Gonzalez versus Rhea Ripley. Wade Barrett and Vic Joseph are going to dress up next week for Halloween. So I wonder, anybody have any quick thoughts who they're going to dress up as? I'm curious. I'm very curious to see what Wade Barrett dresses up as. You imagine if Vic Joseph put on like the Nexus band and was shirtless and he tried to be Wade Barrett. I think that would be pretty funny. But that's not going to happen. Ember Moon beating Jessi Kamea squash match. It was okay. But, it pretty much didn't do anything for Jessi Kamea, to be honest with you. Barrett as a crumpet. Bill the Butcher. Wade Barrett will not be dressing up as Nick Aldis. So, it'd be funny if any of them dress up as Mario. So, Ember Moon, she's got a new submission finisher now. So, I guess Ember Moon, she's going the submission route, which a lot of wrestlers seem to go when they change their styles up a little bit. After the match was over, Dakota Kai basically came in, attacked Ember Moon. So we're having a little bit of a program with Dakota Kai and Ember Moon. They may have a match next week as well. I'm very curious to see who they dress up as next week. So I'm very curious. It'll probably be really funny. Unfortunately, Beth Phoenix will not dress up because she's not on camera. We had Bobby Fish backstage, and I'll tell you, I'm getting a little bit sick and tired with these backstage attacks with WWE because everybody is suddenly blinded. No one ever sees their attackers. I mean, never. Bobby Fish attacked backstage. Now, remember a couple of weeks ago when Ridge Holland got injured and the storyline was somebody bought him a Mercedes to take out Adam Cole? And some of you out there said, it would be pretty cool if Pat McAfee was behind that. Hold that thought. So tonight, Bobby Fish is attacked backstage. He cannot compete in the tag title match. Okay, I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly instead. Well, later on in the night, Roderick Strong is attacked backstage. He doesn't know who attacked him either. So now, because both tag partners are unable to compete, they changed the match to Breezango versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Now I'm saying to myself, okay, somebody took out Adam Cole, somebody took out Bobby Fish, somebody took out Roderick Strong, but now a different tag team is featured. Is this person involved with Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch? Okay, we wait and we see. I also thought of a possible swerve. Maybe Kyle O'Reilly was involved with it, but that wasn't the case. It didn't make sense, but, the fact that they changed the match to a different tag team started having very uneasy feelings about it. So, we'll get to that reveal in a moment, Ken. But first, we had I don't know what they're doing in Austin Theory. You had Gargano show him a little sign of respect. Now it feels like they're back to plates of shit for Austin Theory. He loses to Bronson Reed quickly. And they do what WWE sometimes does on house shows, even though we're not having any right now because of COVID. We have Austin Theory demands a rematch. Bronson Reed beats him again. So now we got Austin Theory losing 2 times tonight instead of 1. As I said earlier, Xia Li losing to Casey Catanzaro. You know, Xia Li, I must win this match. I must win this match. Almost feels like her life is dependent on it. I showed you the kickboxing match that she's going to have this weekend. We don't know what Xia Li's future is going to be in the WWE. I honestly don't know. I am still very, very surprised WWE is allowing her to do this. So I'm a little concerned about Xia Li's future in WWE. But, you know, Casey Catanzaro wins. And, you know, very quickly, you know, thrown aside because of what's going on next week. I put a regular hat over here in case I was going to get rid of the Mario hat tonight early, and it just fell behind my desk. So it looks like I'm going to have to keep this on for the rest of the show, for real. Unless I wear the hat that says hat. Legado del Fantasma beating Isaiah Swerve Scott, Ashante Adonis, and Jake Atlas. I couldn't get into this match, but I'll tell you, I was very happy for Jake Atlas. I have talked about Jake Atlas before. I still think it would have been interesting if he turned on Drake Maverick early on when they were doing that tournament. Drake Maverick's job was on the line. But Jake Atlas tonight got to show some of what he could do, some of the crazy shit. And there was one point tonight where Jake Atlas, they were brawling outside the ring. And you had Santos Escobar around the announcer's table. And Jake Atlas does a tilt-a-whirl DDT on the table to Santos Escobar to the floor. It was a sick move. It looked beautiful on TV. And it was a fun match. Non-stop action, but in the end, Legado del Fantasma gets the win. This feels, again, like that crappy 50-50 booking. I mean, Scott lost on the pay-per-view. You know, they're trying to make Swerve Scott and Adonis as a tag team, and they need a little momentum. And a 6-man tag would have been the easiest way to go because there was so much disarray going on. I think, you know, Atlas, Scott, and Adonis should have gotten that win, but they gave it to Legado del Fantasma. But, yeah, Austin, I fucking like Legado del Fantasma. Santos Escobar has it. And again, I still laugh at the people who said they were religious viewers of Lucha Underground and didn't know anything about Santos Escobar. Nothing. I'm still baffled to this day. But it was a very good match. We had the backstage segments again, well, in their house. The Garganos, little nervous about spin the wheel, make the deal. Johnny Gargano spins the wheel on the table and it lands on Buried Alive. Candice LeRae spins it and it lands on the Trick or Treat street fight. And she's like, oh, I'm undefeated in street fights. Every time Gargano spun it, it was something very, very bad. And Gargano, at one point, he was going to like kick the wheel. I have not been enjoying their home segments, but tonight's was funny. I enjoyed it. Let's see what happens next week. I hope the Garganos are not 0-2. I won't say which one I'd like to see win, but I just hope they're not 0-2 because it just feels like, okay, if they both lose next week, now what do you do? I don't know. We had a match between Everrise versus Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. They're advertised on the screen as Drake and Killian. And this time around, they lose again. They beat Everrise, and I'll keep saying it, even though it's a little unfair. To me, they look like Young Bucks ripoffs. I know they don't wrestle like that. I know they don't act like that. But just it's unfortunate that their physiques and the outfits they have, and one of them with the ponytail with the paste back dark hair, they look like, and I brought this up, WWF had a tag team in the 90s. And I can't remember who it was right now, but it felt like almost like a ripoff of a WCW team. I can't remember what it was. You know what, VJ? All right. You know, they're more like Generation Me. Okay. You know, from 10 years ago. All right. I could feel that. But they got to change up their look a little bit. And I know what some people are going to say. Hey, you know, they created their own style, their own look. Why do they need to change it? Well, because when you look at their look and you look at Young Bucks, it's very, very similar, even though it's two totally different styles. It's not fair. Sometimes things are not fair in life. But what ends up happening is Drake Maverick gets knocked outside the ring. Killian Dane is getting his ass kicked inside the ring. They keep hitting his lower legs, like chopping him down, you know, basically kicking him in the shins. And Matt Martell is in the face of Drake Maverick, and he's like, that's who you want to be with? He's a loser. He's a loser. He's a loser. Drake Maverick ends up flipping out, grabs a chair, starts chair bashing Everrise. So Maverick and Killian Dane get DQ'd. They lose for a second week in a row. But this time around, Killian Dane loves it. He says, that was awesome. That's the Drake I want. The one that keeps that loses because of DQs, chair bashing. But then they played the 80s music after, and Drake Maverick wants Killian Dane to dance. He will have none of it. He leaves the ring. I'm liking the team. It's an oddball team, and it's starting to click. So I wouldn't have had them lost last week, but all right. You know, here's a time where you let the storyline play out a little bit more. But I'm enjoying it. Yeah, Mystery Man. He's like, how could I go this long with this itchy mustache? It's not just itchy. Because it's below my lip when I'm talking, all that cottonmouth breath smell is like staying around there, and I smell like bad breath glue. But I'm going to be done in 10 minutes. So now we get Timothy Thatcher with his Thatch can wrestling in the ring, and he's got Anthony Green showcasing a little bit. Anthony Green almost getting a little bit one up on Timothy Thatcher. Timothy Thatcher tells the ref, ring the bell. They're actually going to have a match. Thatcher wins in a couple of seconds. Submission move. But I liked what they did. Anthony Green playing Timothy Thatcher's student, and it was not bad. Benjamin, I was going to take the mustache off, but we only have a few minutes left. I might as well finish it. I'll stick it out. It's all good. But I like that they brought Anthony Green on TV. I want to see more. And I wouldn't mind seeing them have a one-on-one match. Not saying that he should go over on Timothy Thatcher, but I think he should, you know, take him for a few minutes, you know, push him to the limit almost. Timothy Thatcher is one of those guys that I've brought up many times before. He does not pop ratings. I mean, almost every time he's on TV, the ratings go down. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is with Timothy Thatcher. So maybe, you know, sharing a little bit of that attention with someone else, okay, maybe it'll work. So, yeah, no, I agree with you, Psycho. Timothy Thatcher rules. I still bring up how disappointing it was when WWE signed Karrion Kross and Timothy Thatcher almost at the same time. And I did a segment here on YouTube profiling both of them, and it was the lowest viewed segment that I've ever done. I brought it up, and I thought, okay, maybe if I bring it up, some people out of curiosity will learn a little bit more about at least Thatcher, because we knew Kross from, you know, other feds. But nobody really gave, you know, a flying you-know-what about Timothy Thatcher, and it's sad. So maybe this develops into a little bit better of a storyline. So now we get the main event. Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. They win the tag titles from Breezango. Basically what happens is Tyler Breeze is outside. It was a fun match, but you had bad feelings about it. Tyler Breeze is outside the ring. Somebody attacks Tyler Breeze and then runs under the ring. And now you have Fandango, who's confused, like, what just happened? You know, Wade Barrett and Vic Joseph saw somebody go from under the ring, but the ref didn't see it. Ref doesn't bother to look. Breezango, you know, one of them is laid out outside the ring, and Fandango ends up eating Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch's finisher, and he's pinned. They lose the tag titles. After they lose the tag titles, somebody hits the ring, a little bit of facial hair, kind of like a metal mask over most of the person's face. Didn't know who it was at first. And person slowly pulls it off to reveal that it was, in fact, Pat McAfee. So for some of you a little whiles back that said Pat McAfee could be behind the whole Adam Cole thing, bravo, because that's exactly what they did. Pat McAfee is now the manager for Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. He took out the two members of Undisputed Era so they could not fight for the tag titles tonight. And this will probably lead to a feud between Undisputed Era and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. And who knows, could end up being a six-man tag. Adam Cole, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong versus Burch, Lorcan, and McAfee. McAfee, he's back. He's back. I mean, look, I crapped on that guy forever. Some of you convinced me, give him a chance against Adam Cole, and I was pleasantly surprised. And then you realize that this guy is taking this very, very seriously. So I am all for seeing more of Pat McAfee. And, you know, I'm not happy about Breezango losing those belts, because it never felt like they really went on the run that they should have had. We wanted them to keep it at least to the end of the year. You know, we always felt that they were one clusterfuck away from losing it, and, you know, they lost them. So, you know, where this leaves Breezango from here, I have no idea. But Pat McAfee being back, that's going to be interesting, man. That's going to be interesting. You know, a lot of you out there keep saying that you want managers more in wrestling, and not just always, you know, the old timers, the Hall of Famers, you know, the wrestlers that have no, you know, this is a little bit different. And Pat McAfee is one of those that, you know, he could talk, and he could be the biggest instigator, the biggest asshole. Go ahead, I dare you, try to hit me. And then you got Burch and Lorcan there. So it's going to be interesting. This may help Lorcan and Burch as well, because those two guys, talking about quarter ratings, those guys never pop it. And I'm very curious to see what this main event looks like tonight in the ratings. We will definitely get into the ratings on Friday. So I'm going to get into the winner of the prize right now. I didn't forget. I have a couple of things left to talk about. So we're at an hour and 58 minutes. So probably go about 5-10 minutes over. That's all good. Not a big deal. But very quickly, I want to just mention this because I know there's enough of you out there that have been paying attention to it. But the UWN that's on Fight, that has a little bit of NWA involvement as well. They are now, well, Fight Network has some of that NWA. They got that Good Brothers, debacle that's coming up in November. But the UWN, they created a world championship, and they're doing a tournament that is going to feature some very familiar names. And here's the brackets for anybody who wants to go check this out. Yeah, it does look a little bit thrown together, but on the left you have Eric Redbeard, who is Eric Rowan in WWE. You have Watts, you have Chris Dickinson, and Peter Avalon. Now, you know my feelings on Peter Avalon. Why he's in a tournament for a heavyweight title, I have no fucking idea, but okay, whatever. On the right side, you have Carl Fredericks Fred Rosser, who is Darren Young, and believe it or not, Fred Rosser is my distributor for some of the supplements that I have. Believe it or not, I actually have talked to him on email. He actually sells me some supplements. Guy's got a nice little side business going, and he's in crazy ass phenomenal shape. Davey Boyd Smith Jr., and you have Mike Bennett. So those are the brackets. The tournament begins October 27th. I think a lot of us out there think that it may end up coming down to like Eric Redbeard versus Davey Boy Smith. Maybe Mike Bennett could pull it out. But, you know, that is the tournament. So if anybody wants to go check that out. I have to show you something else with Jake Hager and Stephanie McMahon. Maybe I should have showed it when we were talking about Andrew Yang earlier, but I'm going to share with you in a moment. But first, let me announce the winner of the 5 T-shirts. 2 weeks ago, we did the hashtag WND, and very simply, I was going to pick somebody at random. I have a program that does it, so there's no way I could finagle it. And I pulled it earlier, and I'm going to show you the results right now. And to this gentleman, you have 1 week to claim the prize. And, you know, just DM me on Twitter or on YouTube, or you could just, you could even respond to, in the comment section for tonight's episode. But I am proud to announce the winner of the 5 T-shirts. Remember, your choice, any promotion. It could be a mix. You could have one AEW, one WWE, one NXT. It could be podcasters, anything that has to do with wrestling. Your choice of 5. Here is the results.
1, 2.
Lucky Delaney. Sounds like a good wrestler's name. Congratulations, Lucky Delaney. Gets the shirts, and I got to tell you all something funny. I showed the full video. And the reason why I play music also is that usually when I take like a little drink, little sip during the segments, and me, I forgot I was wearing a mustache. I swear to God, I just did this. And I got it all over me. Because it's in my mouth. It's all wet now. So not only does it smell like glue and breath, it's all wet now. So, what are we doing for a prize this week? Good question. I am working on getting a cameo set up. Somebody that you see on TV, maybe not every week, but this person, I'm working on getting this person for a winner to give someone like a 5-minute cameo call or a shout out or whatever it is. I haven't heard back from the person yet because this person does have a little bit of a wrestling schedule right now. So we may have to hold that off for 2 more weeks. But I was thinking this week, why don't we do something simple, especially with the holidays coming up? I think it's probably the easiest way to give away a prize. So I'm thinking what we'll do is, how's about we give away $100? You could have your choice of a PayPal or an Amazon e-gift card. Something with e-gift. So I could just email you the gift card. I don't want to mail things in the mail. You know, then I got to buy money orders and stuff like that. So we'll give away $100. We'll do it 2 weeks from today. And here is how you do it. Very simple. Not in the chat room. If you're a regular viewer, you already know the format. All you have to do is between tonight and 2 weeks from now, comment in the comment section on this clip. But whatever you write, even if you say, DT, you look like a fat roly-poly wannabe Mario, middle-aged Mario, write whatever you want. I don't care. But you have to also include the #, WND. And I know for the second contest in a row, I should have had it on my screen. I will pull it up because I know I have it here. Let me just pull it up. It'll take me 2 seconds. I should have had it pulled up already. That's my fault. And I don't even think I do have it up here. Let me see. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm looking. And it should be here. Because the last time I was like, oh, it's not here, and then it popped up. Maybe it's not here. That really sucks, man. And you know what's going to happen? Oh, you know what? It actually may be right here. That really sucks. Well, very simple. You know what? I want everybody in the chat room to do me a favor right now. I want everybody to write the hashtag WND. You know, it's the pound sign. You know, just hashtag WND. You know what? Very simple. Just write hashtag WND or line, anything with WND in it. If you look at the contest, there you go. It's the telephone sign. The hashtag WND. That's what it is. Hashtag WND. And you can't get it wrong. Seriously. So thank you, everybody in the chat. So this way everybody could see it. But remember, you got to put it in the comments section to be part of this contest. So 2 weeks from today, we'll pull it. Somebody wins $100. Very, very simple. Now, before we go, I want to share with everyone something that I thought was pretty funny. The only reason why I mention it tonight, not Friday, is because Jake Hager is part of AEW. But Stephanie McMahon went on social media and she was touting that PR News broke the story that WWE is the 2020 Corporation of the Year for PR News' CSR and Nonprofit Awards. So Stephanie touts this on social media, and she says, as you could see, so proud of the WWE community team and all their hard work to make WWE the 2020 Corporation of the Year. And it's always WWE's mission to put smiles on faces, and it could not be done without the hard work and passion of this credible team. So Stephanie touting, you know, that's a pretty big achievement. Well, Jake Hager responded. Jake Hager, as I said earlier, he did the VKO to VKM. I know it was Stephanie's tweet, but Vince is the owner. And verbal knockout, man. I mean, look, Jake Hager's fighting in Bellator 250 on short notice. Even though he's been training for a while, he's going to be fighting upcoming in Bellator 250. You may not know that. But talk about a verbal knockout. Jake Hager says, and I quote, "Laughed my ass off. I guess lying about over $37 million in quarterly profits so you could fire over 300 people during a worldwide pandemic is a category for an award." And he included Andrew Yang on it. So even though, like I say, Andrew Yang, I'm sure he means well, but he is politician first. And if Trump gets reelected, there should be no excuse why Andrew Yang does not offer help to wrestlers that want to step up and go after WWE. You know, if you have unfair labor practices, you take people to court no matter who is president. And I want to see how far Andrew Yang actually goes with this. Is he just going to do this to get love from wrestling fans and attention? But, you know, saying things is one thing, doing it is another. I talk about it even with podcasters. You got podcasters that'll promise you things and they never ever deliver. Andrew Yang, I truthfully believe in his heart, means well. But he is a politician first and foremost. And Jake Hager, God bless him, he thinks that Andrew Yang may make a difference. And you could see that some people are, you know, falling for the Kool-Aid. Let's see. Even a year from now, let's see a year from now how much Andrew Yang does and helps. You know, he's not part of the Trump organization. So what is he doing right now? Even before we were around election time, what is he doing? Seriously, what is he doing? Is it just a good interview and good tweets, passionate tweets, stirring things up? But, anybody could make powerful emotional tweets. It's, what you actually do. And I haven't seen him do anything yet. And meanwhile, months are going by and decades are going by, and yet WWE keeps winning in the courts. And I'm not sticking up for WWE. Changes definitely need to be done. What they did, I understand why on cameos, why WWE changed what they did and forced wrestlers to make a decision, because WWE's doing their own version of that. And I know they have up, down, down, and all that other stuff, but when wrestlers just under their regular personal names go on Twitch and are gaming, and like Mia Yim and Paige and others, they're also generating money for good causes. WWE has no claim to that. And, we'll see what happens. But, talking a good game, is one thing. Actually going out and doing it is another. But I can't help but to say, Jake Hager, verbal knockout to Stephanie and Vince. So, who's that? And some others don't think. Where is Luigi? I don't have a Luigi in my house. I don't have a Luigi. Seriously. Hey, you want to see Luigi? This. I'll show you what Luigi looks like. That's what. Oh no. I thought it was going to be just a black screen, but then it's going to start doing promos and stuff. But with that said, everyone, I think we're out of here. As far as ratings go, last week I nailed it. I bragged last Friday, so I'm not going to brag much again here now, but I was within 4,000 of NXT's rating, and AEW was within 20,000. So we can see the trend. I personally think AEW probably would do a better rating tonight than last week, and last week was the 1 year anniversary. The problem is I think we had the World Series tonight, and the World Series is definitely going to take a little bit of numbers. So I have a feeling AEW is going to be around, I think hour 1 is going to be strong. Hour 2, I think, might have a little bit of a decline, even with the tag team main event that they had. So I'm going to say AEW, I'm going to say 8-11. Say 8-11. 8-11 is not that great, but with the World Series going on and, I'd say 8-11. That might be a little bit on the low side. I'm kind of more leaning like 8-31. And you know what happens to me all the time. I'll change my number and then the original number it should have been. So, you know what? I'll go with 8-31. I'll go with 8-31. So we'll stay 8-31 for, and oh my God, Dorian, Tampa won. You remember 6 months ago, my prediction was the Dodgers winning it all. So that could still happen, but I'm very, very surprised with Tampa. But this year, honestly, it's a wasted year. There's always going to be asterisks. You want to put an asterisk against Barry Bonds, you better put an asterisk with this year's World Series as well. But I'm going to go at 8-31 for AEW. NXT, unfortunately, the opening match was fire. After that, I don't see where you have people enamored with numbers. Breezango's a great tag team, but I just don't see it generating ratings. I mean, yeah, the Pat McAfee reveal was, swerve, but, that happened at the very end. So I'm going to say NXT disappoints in the numbers again. If AEW did 8-31, NXT, I'm going to say does 644. The problem is that's almost 1.5 million viewers, and I don't know. Oh, boy, that sounds awfully high. All right, 644. All right, I'm going to go 8-13. I'm going to go back to what I read. 8-11. All right, I'm going to stick at 8-11 to 644 because that's about 1.45 million, and that kind of feels what the number should be this week. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. But that's it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I can pull this son of a bitch off. I can pull a hat off. I'm not going to rip it apart because maybe I could wear it again as a goof. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Now I look like, I don't know what the hell I look like right now. But everyone, if you want to be part of the contest, hashtag WND, and write something on there. What you thought of the shows, anything. And we'll do that contest 2 weeks from today. So I am out of here. I want to thank you all for the support. If you enjoyed the show, before you go, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, like, whatever you call it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. This way you are notified immediately when I have new videos coming up. Remember, this Sunday, I'm doing the next Q&A. And we have Hell in the Cell Sunday. So I'm going to be recording the Q&A early, probably around lunchtime. So I'll have it up online way before then. That's pretty much it. And, if you subscribe, they have that bell that everybody talks about that I always seem to forget. I guess it's for notifications. Sometimes it doesn't work. But if you hit the bell, you'll be notified in advance whenever shows are going to be going live, especially. But that's pretty much it. So everyone, much love as always. I have some thinking to do as far as what I'm going to go as next week for Halloween. Maybe I'll just do the 70s Mafia stuff. That's easy. I mean, it sucks because I'll have to wear a jacket, but I'll have the air conditioner probably booming a little bit. But I thank you all, as always, for the support. If you have any suggestions for costumes, legit, if you have links on Amazon or something, because somebody gave me, Mish even posted it yesterday as well. There's a costume on Amazon. Guy looks like he's got 2 testicles hanging on. It looks hilarious. But I don't think I want to wear that for 2 hours. But if you have any legit suggestions, post it in the segment. And hell, your suggestion may end up winning you $100 as well. So, all right, everybody. Take care. Have a great night. Much love as always. Thank you for the support. Now I look like some Italian goof from Venice. Can you picture like on the gondola? If you take the gloves off, seriously, take the gloves off. I look like a goof on the gondola. Hey, the gondola. Oh my God. Good night, everybody. Ciao. My hands are dirty.